The Justinian Code, a legal document that shaped Western civilization, even included rules about philosopher beards. An old Roman law, preserved in the code, said philosophers could be identified by their cloaks and long beards, a legally recognized stereotype. It wasn't a ban, but it shows how detailed and thorough Justinian's legal project was. Justinian wanted a single, comprehensive system covering every aspect of life in his vast empire. Imagine sorting through centuries of contradictory laws and opinions. Justinian's team did just that. Their obsession with order meant even the look of a philosopher was codified. The Corpus Juris Civilis, or body of civil law, wasn't just one book. It was a collection aiming to be the final word on Roman law. It distilled 1,000 years of legal chaos into a unified system. This project was driven by immense ambition and a belief that a well-ordered empire needed well-ordered laws. Whether about maritime trade or magnificent beards, the code laid the foundation for centuries of law. Sometimes, history is shaped by the smallest details. Why did Justinian bother with this massive legal overhaul? As emperor of the Byzantine Empire, he wanted to restore Rome's glory, militarily, religiously, and legally. He launched campaigns to reclaim lost territories and pushed for religious unity under Orthodox Christianity. But legal unity was just as crucial. One emperor, one god, one law. The empire was a patchwork of conflicting legal codes, undermining his authority. Justinian saw a unified legal system as essential for a unified empire. The Corpus Juris Civilis wasn't just for lawyers, it was a political power move. By creating a single authoritative body of law, Justinian consolidated power and symbolized Roman permanence. The code was a tool of governance, a monument to his reign, and a gift to future generations. It was his way of making the empire whole again. Law, faith, and power, all unified under Justinian. That's why the code mattered. Before Justinian, Roman law was a chaotic mess. Centuries of laws, edicts, and jurist opinions piled up, full of contradictions. Judges in different provinces could rule opposite ways on the same case. The system was unpredictable, slow, and unfair, favoring those who could afford the best legal scholars. Earlier attempts like the Theodosian Code only partially cleaned things up. It ignored the influential writings of classical jurists, leaving the legal system fragmented. When Justinian came to power, the law was still tangled and confusing. He saw this as an offense against justice and order. Justinian wanted clear, accessible, and consistent laws for everyone. He didn't just want to tidy up. He wanted to rebuild from the ground up. The stage was set for a legal revolution. Justinian needed help to tackle the legal chaos, so he assembled a legal dream team. He chose Tribonian, a brilliant lawyer and his chief legal officer, to lead the project. Tribonian's team had the power to read, edit, and harmonize millions of lines of legal text. They could discard outdated laws and merge conflicting ones. Their goal, create a new, consistent body of law for the Byzantine Empire. The commission included top legal professors and practicing lawyers, blending theory and real-world experience. They divided the work, starting with the Codex Justinianus, a collection of updated imperial laws. This was just the beginning. The process was intense and relentless. Tribonian's team acted as editors, historians, and legislators, filtering centuries of Roman thought. The result was a legal synthesis, deeply traditional, yet radically new. It was one of history's greatest intellectual achievements. So, what did Justinian's team actually produce? The Corpus Juris Civilis was a 4-part legal library. First, the Codex, a collection of all imperial laws, organized and updated. Second, the Digest, a condensed, organized encyclopedia of Roman jurists' writings, legal wisdom distilled into 50 books. Third, the Institutes, a textbook for law students, laying out the basics of Roman law in a clear, logical way. Finally, the Novelli new laws issued by Justinian after the Codex, many written in Greek for practical use. Together, these four parts formed a complete, integrated legal system. The code covered everything from contracts and property to church law and administration. It was designed to be practical, authoritative, and adaptable. The digest, especially, became the heart of the new legal order. The code was a living document meant to answer nearly any legal question. It set the standard for legal systems to come. Justinian's code became law in the Byzantine Empire, but in the West, it was forgotten for centuries. Germanic kingdoms used their own tribal codes, and the corpus juris civilis gathered dust in monasteries. Then, in the 11th century, a copy of the digest was rediscovered in Italy, just as Europe was changing. Trade, cities, and complexity were growing. Old laws couldn't keep up. Scholars flocked to Bologna to study the code, writing glosses and adapting it to their world. Roman law became the foundation of civil law across continental Europe. Kings and the church used it to centralize power and organize society. France, Germany, Spain, and others built their legal systems on its structure and principles. The code wasn't copied word for word, but its logic and categories shaped European law. The Justinian Code was resurrected, fueling a legal revolution. It helped create a new European civilization. The legacy of Justinian's law was just beginning. What about the United States? We follow English common law, right? True, but Roman law still left its mark. English scholars studied Roman law, and its principles seeped into commercial and maritime law. The logical structure of Roman law influenced how legal problems were analyzed, even in common law courts. America's founders, inspired by Enlightenment thinkers, drew on Roman legal ideas when drafting the Constitution. The concept of a single supreme written law echoes Justinian's Code more than Britain's unwritten constitution. Louisiana's legal system, based on French civil law, is a direct descendant of the Code. Justinian's legacy crossed the Atlantic and shaped the legal DNA of the New World. The Code's influence is everywhere, even if you've never heard of it. Justinian's Code still shapes your life today. Concepts like contracts, property rights, and innocent until proven guilty trace back to the corpus juris civilis. Every time you agree to terms online or buy property, you're part of a legal tradition Justinian helped preserve. The division between public and private law and much of our legal vocabulary comes from Roman law. Even if you've never heard of Justinian, his project shaped the laws, rights, and justice systems we rely on. The Code's influence is woven into our daily lives. The work of Justinian's team created a ripple effect that still shapes our world. The past is never really past. It's alive in our laws and institutions. The ghost of a Roman emperor is in our courtrooms and constitutions. An open letter to law students. Go deeper. Don't just study modern cases. Explore the institutes and digest. In those ancient texts, you'll find the source code of Western law. Understanding Justinian's Code gives you insight into the logic behind our legal system. It's the difference between using software and understanding how it's built. The story of the Code is about ambition, intellect, and the power of ideas to shape the world. Choices made centuries ago still echo today. That's why we explore these stories, because history shapes our present. Thanks for watching and learning with us. Subscribe for more stories about how the past created our world. The more we learn about where we came from, the better we understand where we're going.